Today is Saturday, August 8th, and welcome to episode 26 of the In the Huddle podcast. I'm your host, Kane White. We've reached August, and we got this saying in the South, there's two seasons of the year. There's football season, and there's waiting for football season. We finally reached football season. Summer's come to an end. Really enjoyed the summer of 2026. I made a post about it on my personal Instagram a couple of days ago. Got to do so many things and just spend time with the people that I loved and met some new friends along the way. And, you know, meeting new friends and meeting new people in life, that's just one of my favorite things to do. I'm just a people person and always looking to talk to somebody new. And on Friday night at the Prairie Dirt Classic, there was 5 fellas that I got the blessing to meet from way far away from Arkansas. They are from Australia. The Kangaroo Crew, as I call them. My friends Darcy, Bradley, Ethan, Billy, and Harry. A group of friends that came over to the United States from Australia for about a month this summer just to go watch racing. They went to sprint car races, late model races. They went to the NASCAR race in Indianapolis. And, man, I tell you what, they are just some amazing dudes. And, man, just getting to talk about the culture in Australia and just to get to know those guys, man, it was amazing. Just some guys that'll be friends of mine forever now. We've already got a little group chat. We talk every single day. And so I look forward to seeing those guys again for sure. That's just the beautiful thing about life is, meeting new people and sharing experiences. And can't wait to see those guys again one day. Going to the beach, going to concerts, going to some dirt races, just doing what I like to do, playing some golf along the way. Kind of sad that summer's over in a way, but excited that the 2026 football season is finally here. School starts next week, and I couldn't be more excited to start year 2 with the Hoxie Mustangs, ready to get it rolling with the guys over in Lawrence County. 2 weeks ago, we talked about it on episode 25, the Prairie Dirt Classic in Fairbury, Illinois. 2 weeks ago, got the opportunity to go up there and watch some amazing racing. The race was won by Brandon Shepard of New Berlin, Illinois, in dominating fashion. Congratulations to him. Got to spend some time with some good friends. Gordy Gundaker, who's the host of the Dirt Parlor podcast, which is on my hat right here. Got to hang out with him on Friday night of that event. And, man, what a good human being Gordy is. He was on the podcast, early on, and just got to catch up with Gordy, man. What a great guy. Appreciate the hat, Gordy. Happy to support the Dirt Parlor podcast. Gordy had a great run in the Prairie Dirt Classic, a top 10 finish in the orange number 11. So proud of him. And got back from Fairbury. We rolled right into fall camp. Had a great week of practice with the junior and senior high Mustangs. Like I said, just excited about the group of young men that I get the blessing to coach. Ready to go attack the 2026 season. As we look towards the 2026 football season at the college level, man, I think once again it's kind of wide open. And I know that was a point that I made a lot last year, but I think that it's going to be wide open again this year. You've got your Ohio States, your Alabamas, your Georgias, your Texas, of course, Oregon, who always is in the mix. I went and watched Ole Miss practice in the spring. I thought they looked really good. They could be a dark horse. Indiana, the defending national champions, Miami, returning a lot of guys. So just excited to watch some college football on Saturdays. I always look forward to that, cooking my infamous breakfast burritos and firing up 3 or 4 TVs wide and watching some college football. Of course, going to be pulling on the Arkansas Razorbacks under Ryan Silverfield now. Still got some Arkansas connections, some guys that I coached there, guys like Gavin Rush, who should be the starting punter for the Razorbacks this season. Got the opportunity to recruit him out of high school, and what a great young man he is. He's earned that right to be the starting punter of the Razorbacks. Excited to see what he can do. And then some other guys that I've mentioned on this podcast, guys like Landon Phipps, Donovan Witten, who are Arkansas guys, who are walk-ons, and they've, made it a point to make the travel roster and play on some special teams. So excited to see what those guys can do on the field. Shout out to those 3 guys and anybody that's still playing at the college level that I got the opportunity to coach. I'm rooting for you no matter where you're at. Even Scott Starzik at LSU, who transferred, there's no bad blood, right? in this day and age in college football. It's different. People are going to transfer. They're going to do what's best for them. And so, man, I'm happy for Scott. I hope that he flourishes at LSU. Zach Haber, who's at Illinois now, man, hope he does great with the Fighting Illini. It's really cool to just watch the guys that you got the opportunity to coach on TV, man. And I just made such a great connection with those guys, and ready to see what they can do. Jace Petty and Kavion Henderson, who are now at Troy, rooting for those guys as well. Dallas Young down at South Alabama, man. There's just such a long list of guys that I can't wait to see play on Saturdays. But yeah, like I said, I think the college football season's wide open again. Not going to give my official national championship prediction yet. I think there's a lot of teams that could put their hat in the ring. Maybe a little closer to week 2 or week 3, I'll have a little bit better idea who can ball. So we'll see what the season has in store. Speaking of the NFL season, I got some more guys at the NFL level that I coached. Larry Worth with the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, Isaac Teslaw with the Detroit Lions. Talked about him a lot last year. Can't wait to see him ball out in a second season in Detroit. Talon Green got drafted by the Cleveland Browns. Man, super excited for Talon and the opportunity he has there. Just a great young man. And so, it's really easy to root on the guys that are just good humans. And I'm very happy to say I've surrounded myself by a lot of great humans in my time. And so enough about football, and not enough about football, because we're about to get into some nitty gritty Northeast Arkansas high school football. Today's guest, a Northeast Arkansas football legend, a guy that I've wanted to have on this podcast for a really long time, a guy that's earned the right to be on this podcast because he's been in my life since April 23rd, 1997, the day that I was born. He was a 4-sport all-state athlete at Truman High School. He was a 2-sport athlete at Arkansas State University, an assistant football coach at Truman High School for 13 years before the promotion to head coach, playoff victories, multiple big-time victories over teams that he shouldn't have beat. A guy that coached his players and still coaches his players with love and with pride. Just a player's coach. But all in all, just a great human. Avid duck hunter, part-time golfer, and he could beat me anytime he steps on the golf course, even though he golfs like twice a year. Love him to death. My father. Time to get in the huddle with Coach Greg White.
I think they got one of the best defenses in the country.
They do have, and then all the NIL.
Yes, which is coaches are still trying to figure out how to, work their way around that. Some of them, some of them don't do it. Like Dabo Swinney, he's not,
Well, it's such a different climate, and the guy. I think, is that why Saban got out? I don't know.
I think obviously, Coach Saban, you don't know, but he's, I think he was old school enough that it had definitely changed,
right?
Enough for him to do something, so,
right? Yeah. And the younger coaches, kind of your new wave guys, your Kiffins, your Drinkwitzes, yep. They're doing a pretty good job in that climate.
I'll say this, I would think some of the old school guys would even say that it's harder to coach right now.
100% it is.
Because
you don't know what your roster is going to be year to year.
And I'll even say this, in the high school era, it's harder to coach.
Right.
Because kids, I've done this 100 years, and kids, or the sport follows college. It just does. Everything's trickle down. And then, so, I think kids see, that they can go anywhere now.
Right.
And, if they have access to get there from wherever they live, they can go anywhere. And, they're going to do what's best for them too.
And these rules in Arkansas changed so much. The new one, heck, you can play football at one school and basketball and baseball at a different school.
Immediately after. We can, man, you can start casting stones and do, but I don't know what's right or what's wrong anymore. I grew up in an era where everybody, are we going?
Keep going.
Yeah. I grew up in an era, grew up when everybody was on the same playing field.
Correct.
I mean, it was just, you lived in, Cabot, or you lived in Osceola, or you lived wherever, and, you just spent the summers doing what you wanted to. We played baseball.
Right.
And we went bass fishing, and we cut grass, and we went swimming. And then 2 weeks before school started, everybody was ready. The summertime was over, and it was such a good feeling of, you knew fall was coming, and as I can remember us, even, it's still hot in late August, but you knew fall was coming.
Right.
And you got the football out in the yard, and you did. But boy, I tell you, 2 days was no joke. And I know some coaches today would go, well, man, I couldn't give you time to do anything. You'd be surprised. Right. Because, the essentials of football, I mean, the stuff that you have to do, be aggressive, blocking, tackling, and running and catching. And in 2 weeks of it, 2 times a day, you were ready.
Right.
And again, everybody was on the same
playing field.
Yeah. Everybody was on the same deal. So, but I do think even today, and you see this, I think everybody back, and it kind of transitioned 10 or 12. Everybody back in the day just kind of followed the same
protocol.
Yeah. Just kind of followed the same agenda. And, a lot of the old school heads, the old guys, and fortunately, you still get to work for one.
Right.
And, and that's so hard to stay at one spot and build something and do. It's a hard job right now.
Yeah, I do work under one of the legends.
Oh, there's no doubt. Funny story. Tom and I, when I was head coach, he brought, and I thought I had a decent team, and we played them week 2 or 3, 1, I can't remember. And he had the Shirley boys, the twins, right. They were really good. And we thought, man, here we go. Well, they just beat the brakes off of us. They were beating us pretty good at halftime. Maybe one of my guys quit. I mean, one of my dudes, quit at halftime. And I was like, after that, I was like, man, he teaches football, coaches football, which is teaching.
Yes,
coaches is teaching. And
you're teaching more than football. It's life lessons.
It's teaching life lessons. And, along with blocking a guy till the whistle blows, or running the ball till the whistle blows, and all that stuff is, well, when you get a job, you work till the whistle blows.
Correct.
You go for an interview, you do it till the whistle blows. And I
love that.
And I think a lot of, true football coaches realize it.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of, because we're not in it for the money.
No.
I mean, we're not doing it. And again, this is my 32nd.
Crazy.
Well, you lose track after a while. You really do, because when you go past retirement age, it's like, well, heck, I might as well just keep going.
Right.
There's not a countdown, because you can do it anytime you want. And, but, for us to do it and not, and I'm not saying the pay is awful. I'm just saying, but we're not in it for the money.
Right.
And we're doing it. And I know some people just go, oh, well, that's just the same old talking points. Coaches always say that. They do it just for the boy. But it is, and it, because you and I have talked about it a lot. Mm-hmm. You actually know that you made an impact,
right,
on somebody, and they see you 15 years later and just like,
I'm starting to see that, now with the guys that I coached at Manila. And, I had one reach out to me a couple weeks ago, and he's a contractor at one of the steel mills.
Exactly.
And he's made something of himself. And did I do that by myself? No, of course not. But to say that I maybe played a small role in that is enough. And that's the little things that like keep you going.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And now it's not all S&Gs. It's not all fun. There's bad times and bad things happen, but again, that's where we were coached to be tough and resilient.
Exactly.
And it's just going to happen. You're going to have good years and bad years, and roll with the good and
That's
roll
right.
with the bad.
That's right. And you coached me to be tough. I mean, from a young age, like even just growing up, like, I mean,
I always told the kids, and I say kids, they're grown men, half of them 18 years old, but they're still kids. But we tried to say, just be as tough as you can.
Right.
Because, and, there's a lot of times when a kid can just overcome a lack of athletic ability with just, and I'm not going to say just toughness, but just grit.
Yeah, of course.
Just determination. And boy, that's what you really love to see,
Mm-hmm.
And rarely do you have that one kid that has every bit of that athletic ability and all of that coachability, but you have some that come along.
Right.
But rarely is it that way. The ones that have the ability, they know they've got it.
Correct.
And man, they're hard to coach sometimes, but you got to have them.
The Jimmy Creases of the world.
They're well, speaking of Jimmy, and I don't know if your listeners know, I mean, everybody in North, especially Truman, aside from you and your brother, if somebody said, well, Coach White, you've coached a lot of good players, and I have.
Yes.
I've been very fortunate to be at one spot and see a lot of good players come and go.
Through your hometown, which is our hometown, which is special.
Yeah. But aside from you and your brother, people go, well, who's your favorite player? And man, there's a bunch of them.
Right.
And I couldn't sit here and say I would miss somebody, but I can tell you that Jimmy was one that had incredible ability. He was, first of all, he was a big quarterback.
Right.
And running the system that we ran,
mm-hmm.
Where your quarterback is taking as much punishment as, as your fullback.
Yes.
And actually in ours, Jimmy was taking more because he knew, and I knew I wasn't stupid enough to know that I wanted him to carry the ball.
Correct.
As much as he could.
He was cookie cutter for the flex ball.
Yeah. He really, yeah. You go back and you look at it, and of course the flex bone, triple option, wishbone, however you want to tweak it. When I was in high school, my old coach, Coach Greenwell, had gotten it. 85, about 85 is when it came in. Coach Hatfield at Arkansas was one of the very first to implement it.
Right.
Coach Lacewell at ASU.
Switzer.
Well, and Switzer, Switzer probably started the wishbone.
Right.
Or, man, don't get me wrong, because I know there's some Texas people, maybe Darrell Royal at Texas, but, Texas and Oklahoma, early 70s.
Right.
And then it just morphed a little bit into, well, if we move these two, we move these two halfbacks
up this way
to a slot back, we can get more out of them.
Right.
And it really was a very innovative offense at the time. And so anyway, we ran it in high school. We did pretty good. And so that's what I learned. And, as a coach, you tend to do stuff the way your coach did it.
Right.
And, and then hopefully over the years adjust some.
Exactly.
And you got to. And I think a lot of times I was too hard-headed to change and do things. And, you look back on it, you got to be able to change and do stuff.
Of course.
But the flex bone, Jimmy, we're getting back. I was kind of getting off there. Jimmy was, and you can make it as easy as you want, as simple as you want, but the flex bone is real. You just got to have that guy that can manage it,
correct,
if you will, and can read it, because we were actually running the midline then, more than, because typically, when I was in high school, you had a lot of true nose, maybe fours, fives, and then whatever. But then defenses morphed, and then you had just a forefront, a 1 and a 3. And I just always, if I wanted to run midline, I would just tell Jimmy, midline.
Right.
Well, and he just gets to the line,
checks it,
finds the 3, of course. And everybody on the team knows we're running to the 3.
Correct.
Now, they might not be able to realize, but Jimmy was. He was good enough, and of course, he's right under the center. Well, here's a 3.
Great.
And so, he barks his first signal to that side, and that's the way we're running. If the 3 was on the left, he'd just say, whatever to the left, echo it to the right, but everybody knew we're running midline left.
Correct.
And he was just good enough to do that. And that was his junior year. Am I right?
Year. Yes, you're right. That's when he put it in. Because, and I want to go back for just one second. When you get the head coaching job, I think you're the first head coach in Truman history to tell your quarterback to get in the shotgun. And that blew people's minds.
Probably. and you're talking about change. When I first got there, Gus and Coach Malzahn and a lot of people were really running, the up-tempo spread had just kind of started.
Just hit the ground running.
And that was the one thing that if you look back as a young coach, man, I think a lot of young coaches get caught up in what's happening.
Right.
And then you go, man, we can do that. We can do that, and then you try to do it and you try to be faithful to it. And we had some good teams do it.
Well, with that stuff, you also had a cookie cutter quarterback in Blake Jones.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when Blake was coming through, we had started it early with Kyle Barker and his crew, and hit some lumps because I was learning too,
of course.
And again, there's some things I would have done different. Would I have just went straight to the flex bone then? I don't know, but I can't say we didn't have some really good teams doing. Because essentially what we were trying to do is run a lot of triple option out of
the shotgun,
out of the shotgun. And we did. We were kind of doing some of the West Virginia stuff that Rich Rodriguez was doing, at that time. He was doing a lot more just pure zone read, quarterback keep.
Right.
But we did kind of morph that into some triple option off of it.
Right.
But back to Jimmy, when we got him, he was more comfortable under center, and a lot of quarterbacks I think are, and it was safer. It's as a coach, you'll know it's safer. And in my mind, it was like, okay, this hurry up stuff. And man, if you're not clicking on offense, you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
Correct.
And so then we just adopted the exact opposite. Manage the game, try to do, and that was probably our best teams, that actually just could control the game,
right?
Play as good a defense as you can, but use as much time as you can on offense. You know it,
of course.
But Jimmy was so good at, and you don't have so many plays. And everybody knows you're running this and this and this, and then you look at Harding and Navy, and then boom, the play action pass is wide open, and of course now. If people are just better than you, they're better than you.
It happens.
But that, as a coach, you got to get something and stick with it. And I had the quarterback that came through then, Jimmy Creasy, was, and I'll never forget, if I can tell this story.
You can tell anything. Open mic, baby.
He was a junior. Yeah. And I think we were maybe 4-0. No, he was senior.
Senior.
4-0. All right. When he was a junior, was that he wasn't on the grab it?
Yes, he was. He was starting quarterback.
Okay, that's right. That's when we went to grab it. They had gotten the one, and we were
the number 3 in the state.
Yeah.
Only had lost to the eventual state champions in Shiloh Christian and the Truman Wildcats.
And I'll tell you what, our crew that year, and I was blessed to have Coach Greenwell come back, and help me and coach with me and mentor me later.
Right.
And we took our crew, Coach, our bunch, and they were not at all, intimidated by anybody. And it seems like we always played Northwest teams pretty good.
Right.
When we would go to the playoffs. I mean, our teams had some unlucky draws. We had Stuttgart back-to-back.
Dover.
Dover had a really good team. But when we went to grab it, we felt like we had a chance. Now, it was snowy, rainy. You remember it.
Yeah, I was in the 8th grade. We got up there. And like I said, they were 9-1. They only lost to Shiloh. We were roughly 7-3.
Pocahontas got us at a nail biter.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah, that was the junior year. That was
Valley View got us in a close one.
Close one. Yeah, I think that maybe Rivercrest.
Yes, non-con.
Yeah.
Put it on OCL at home with Corliss Marshall.
That's right.
And when we went up there, man, I remember getting off the bus with you. We took the Yellow Dogs up there.
Yeah, drove them up.
Man,
6.5 hours, 6 hours.
Yeah, it started sleeting a little bit in the first half.
Tick, tick, tick.
Off the helmets, you could hear them. And man,
I'll never forget.
18-3.
We were. Man, it was a crucial down. I can't remember. Had a little running back, Cameron Wright.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was sophomore.
He was ward number 80,
and we put him in to run a counter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he took it 50 or 60 yards to the house. And then we had I think we threw a long touchdown to Dustin Miller.
First play of the second half.
Tremendous athlete. Great athlete. And then defense played, man, just stout that had Quentin Buchanan. And again, I'm going to miss a lot of players off this team. But
Josh Evans,
Kevin
Bradley, you had some linebackers that were unbelievable. Tony Harris.
And linemen. I mean, Tony, the Harris boys. I think one of the Cifuentes boys was on that team.
Yes.
Great player. But anyway, we got up there and got them, and bam, all of a sudden we're like, okay, well, then we draw Star City. And so you talk about going from daylight, it was exact opposite.
Right.
The next week, it got humid again.
A little muggy.
Down in Star City. The kids came out flat. And,
second half.
And then the second half, boom, picked it up, and it was a dogfight to the end. I think 37-31.
Something like that. It was 28-0 half,
and,
if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe 6 or 7.
They claw all the way back.
And then they got us. I think they went to the quarters, maybe semis. Semis. That would have been
they played either Gosnell or Valley View the next week.
Yeah.
And beat them.
And then, so it would have been the semis. And then there would have been 4 teams left.
And somebody beat them in the semis.
Okay.
I think it may be Shiloh. But I'm going to go back to that Gravett game. You might not remember this, but I'm an 8th grader, and for some reason that night I went to the stands, maybe because I was cold.
Oh, hey, one quick thing before I forget. Shout out to our kicker that game.
Luis Gutierrez.
The boot, Gutierrez.
Right before half.
Field goal into the driving sleet.
40 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice. I don't know what got into me, but I was just watching, and I guess I'm patting myself on the back, just my eye for the flex bone. I caught you at half, and I said, 13 throwback post is wide open.
Yeah.
I told you, and you ran it coming out of half.
And guess what? 13 throwback post goes all the way back to, when I played.
Right.
And it's kind of neat to go, well, Jimmy, 13 throwback post hits Miller same way we used to do it,
Right.
So that just goes to show you that things stick around.
They do.
But all this leads to Jimmy's senior year.
Man.
And you talk about, we really thought this team could have been, because we were loaded. And we breezed through our first 4.
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe first 3.
First 3. Pocahontas was our first conference game.
4th.
Yep.
And this is how valuable this kid was, not only on offense, but defense too.
Yes.
He was such a leader,
mm-hmm.
In a quiet way, but still.
Speaking of him being a leader, I remember, I'm in the 9th grade now,
mm-hmm.
and I was playing quarterback on the junior high
That's
team,
right.
and I was a little pudgy.
Yeah.
I remember in fall camp, we were running after practice, and I was struggling. I think I maybe did some quarterback stuff with the senior high team.
Yeah.
You wanted us to run some laps, and I was struggling. Jimmy gets behind me.
Did he?
Literally starts pushing me.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a leader.
He was, and he really took care of those young boys. He was a true quarterback leader
Right.
But back to the story. We had jumped on Pocahontas, man. I mean, and he was running that thing till, I think this was the same year that he set.
He ran for 7 touchdowns the week prior.
Right.
13 carries, 313 yards, 7 touchdowns.
And he was off to a fantastic senior season. And, why the football gods pull some of the stuff they do, you never know. But I think we're up 28-0.
28-0 right before half.
And he's still in on defense. Maybe Coach White's fault. I don't know. But Pocahontas, fantastic football team, and you can't
let up.
And then this is fixing to tell you why. I'll never forget it. The ball's about midfield. Maybe Pocahontas has got it a little past.
They're going
midfield.
towards the highway.
Going towards the highway. And I can remember watching the play develop, and watching Jimmy, because the play had gone to his side, outside linebacker. And he was a tremendous linebacker, too. Yes. It wasn't just like he was, just a good quarterback. He was a great defensive player. And he came up to make the tackle. And I can remember he lowered his helmet a little bit. And as a coach, we all, we preach it and preach it and preach it for reasons like this.
But his eyes were up, though.
And he was. But I can remember the way it snapped his neck and just in the play. He made a good defensive play. Made a tackle. And he came to the sidelines. And tough kid. I mean, just never complained.
Speaking of how tough he is, before you tell the rest of the story, I remember his junior year, we run option. He pitches it against Rivercrest at home, gets his helmet knocked off after the pitch, picks it up, and looks at you for the next play like,
yeah. And so he comes to the sideline, and he just takes his helmet off, and he never really – and he's kind of rubbing the back of his neck. I said, you all right? I said, you okay, bub? And he goes, yeah, I'm all right. My neck, I'm okay. I'm all right. And he's doing this, Well, and I don't know if it was Coach Richardson or I told somebody, I said, well, I don't know, man.
Right.
And everybody's like, man, we're up. And so we're all thinking the C word as football coaches. We don't want
to say the C word.
Not now, because it's 2 weeks. 10 days.
Right.
And so I said, man, I think he might have a concussion. Well, his mother, came down. And I don't know if it was right before half.
Right before halftime.
And I think I told her, I said, maybe you need to take him go ahead and take him to the hospital and just see if he's got a concussion.
Right. We're up. We're good.
We're up. We're good. Well, we weren't good because Pocahontas came back and beat us 35, 28. Maybe 28. We might not have scored again. I can't remember. But I do remember this.
Tried to go back in the game.
Yes, right after that, he said, I'm good, coach. Put his helmet on. I'm good. I said, well, it's almost halftime. Let's just see.
Right.
And he, bless his heart, might make me cry because, when at halftime, his mom took him. Took him to the hospital. And so, we ended up getting beat. This heartbreak loss. And we stayed and watched a little film and I told everybody, well, let's go home. We'll just have to regroup and go. But we need to check on Jimmy anyway, make sure. So I get home and your mother, who's, usually waiting up for me, and she started crying. As soon as I walked in her, she was crying. And I think she might have been on the phone. I can't remember. But anyway, I said, what is it? And she said, Jimmy broke his neck. And I said, what? And she said, he broke his neck. So I jumped in the truck and flew to Jonesboro. And he's in there in the bed with the neck brace on. And the doctors are like, Coach, I don't know how he didn't. He was just a big, strong kid.
Right.
And had that big neck brace on. And they said, well, yeah, he's definitely done with football forever and blah, blah, blah. And just broke everybody's hearts. And and I could remember talking to him. And he was heartbroken. I think he was more upset because he couldn't hunt, because he couldn't shoot a gun for 6 months or something because he had to keep that neck brace on. But it just devastated our team, because I want to say the very next week, the little kid I was talking about, Cameron Wright, he's a junior. Heck of one of the best slot backs I ever, natural talent, great slot back. And I think we're playing
West Side at Arkansas State.
And I, again, think we're up 28-0.
He had run for like 150, but hadn't scored.
Right before halftime.
Yeah.
Right before halftime. And he came up to me and he's like, Coach, I said, Cameron, you got 150 yards. I said, but I hadn't scored a touchdown. And I think we're on the 12, 15-yard line going in. And we knew if we score here, everybody's coming out and saying,
turbo clock's on. We're good.
Yeah. And so, okay, Cameron. So we ran rocket toss to the right. Mm-hmm. And he did. He got it. Boom. And safety comes up right at the pylon. Remember that?
Yep.
And he scores.
Hurdles.
He scores. But I can just hear this scream. You said you could hear the crack.
I was in the press box.
And a lot of people swear that.
Yeah.
Because it broke
Both
okay,
bones.
he broke both bones in his lower leg. And Coach Edwards, I had Coach Edwards, and I said, Coach, run out there. And sure enough, it was tibia, fibula.
Yeah.
And so he was out, and he was, again,
talented.
Oh, great defensive player. I mean, just, and that when you talk about the injury bug that year, and as coaches, you know this, because we're not going to have, and I'm sure Hoxie's the same way. Truman, Coach Greenwell would say in his 33 years as head coach, he averaged about 33 players.
Yeah.
And so and I got to looking back and I was like, man, we were lucky if we had 35.
Correct.
And, Tom will tell you the same
right.
thing. You hope you have enough, and then enough of those twos, if some one does go down, that you can
get them ready.
Get them a little bit ready. And I want to say that exact same year, though, Tevin Bradley, great player. I think it was his ankle.
Josh Evans breaks his ankle.
Evans, one of the toughest players I ever coached. Nathan Maxwell, big, tall receiver, backup quarterback if we needed him, just a great player.
Breaks his ankle.
Ankle. That's
Three
right.
ankles.
That's right. And so that was the injury bug year. But, and I think all of this just goes right back to talking about Jimmy. And as you look back over the years, you go, well, who's your favorite player? And again, you and your brother, but he was again, there's just too many to mention, because you'll miss somebody. If they try to ask you,
exactly,
as young as you are, you would miss somebody.
100%. 100%.
Because you're just thankful for every single player that put that T on their helmet. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if they you're thankful for that kid for buying into what you were trying to do.
Sacrificing time. And I feel the same way. Every single kid that I've coached, I just thank them for, spending time away from their family, friends, hunting to play ball.
And it is, and more so now.
Correct.
It is a sacrifice, but if you build the right culture and you can get those kids, it's something they want to be a part of.
Right.
And that's what we're always striving for, to get them to that point where they want to come out and do it. I mean, it's not easy. And I used to say this all the time. You remember this? It ain't for everybody.
It's not.
I mean, it's just not. And, because it's hard.
It is.
I mean, when it's 100 degrees and you got to go, it's hard.
Right.
It's hard on coaches,
Exactly.
But you can imagine you put them. But we all did it. That's, you say, it's a rite of passage. And it kind of is, because high school, again, I love college football and I watch pro football, but Friday night football, there's just nothing like it.
It's special.
Yeah, it's special.
So, kind of talking about your head coaching experience, you were interviewed by a news station or a newspaper weekly. I mean, because you had some good teams, and it's been a long time since you've been interviewed by a media outlet, even though it's your son's. I think the last time you were probably interviewed was the story they did on Will his senior year. So been a while since you've been in front of the microphone.
And I appreciate you asking me. I am grateful to be here. I'm as a dad so proud of what you're doing, and you do a good job of it. So thanks for having me here.
I appreciate it. So you said you're 32 or 33.
I think 32.
Education and coaching.
Yeah.
I've never asked you this, and as my father, why coaching? Why education?
Man, that's a good question. I think when you just sit back, and I don't know if this is the way you feel about it, man, football was just so. I can remember as a 7-8-year-old, I was enamored with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and just
Steel curtain.
And Terry Bradshaw was like God to me, and it was from that day or those years. And my brother loved the Cowboys, and my brother but everybody in Truman played, and we grew up on Smith Street, which was I could throw a football, punt a football, and drop kick a football into the stadium from my house.
Right.
And so I can remember being in the front yard and hearing, we went to most of the games, even when I was little.
Right.
But when you say what made me want to become a coach, I think as you finish up playing, and you love it, just love the game. You want
to be around it.
I love baseball, but I didn't love coaching baseball like I loved coaching football.
Right.
I didn't love the game as much as I loved
And we're one and the same in that.
Football.
We're one and the same in that.
Yeah, you're a really good baseball player, but you're a better baseball player than you were a football player.
100%. Easy.
But it's something about the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's the feeling you get. It's just, all the time you put into it. And don't get twisted. I love baseball. But, when you jog out on a Tuesday afternoon and you're patting your glove, it's not like jogging out of that tunnel on a Friday night. It's just not.
And as a player, there's nothing like, and this was me just looking back, waking up on a Saturday morning, sore, and your mom's got you some donuts or something. And you're like, you and your buddies talk about it. That, is what still kept me going. I want to be a part of that, you know. And of course, I went to ASU on a football scholarship and then played on a really good ASU football team. I didn't play, but I was the scout team quarterback on a team that I'm talking about. Let's see, defensive players, probably 3 or 4 were drafted.
Correct. Michael Adams.
All right, story about Michael Adams. This is a good story. And I got time?
You've got so much time. We'll go 5 hours.
So I get to ASU, and first of all, I had wanted to play for the Razorbacks for 9,000 years. That was, if you were growing up
in the state of Arkansas
in the 70s and 80s,
you want to be a Hawk.
It's not like now with NIL. You just wanted to play for your state.
Correct.
And so when I was a junior, I got invited. Let's see, was it the summer of my junior year? Yeah, going into my junior year. I got invited to a Razorback, the invite, the Uprising Junior invite. And I went and met a lot of players that played on that good 86, 87, 88 team. Tim Horton, who's still a dear, Coach Horton.
Yep.
Who I don't know if we roomed together in an all-star game, but we were just really fast friends. And then I can tell you a story about him in a little bit as far as going through coaching and then coming back to see me. But I really wanted to play for the Razorbacks. And so sure enough, I went down to that camp and played, did pretty good. And man, was getting these letters. And I thought, man, I'm going to sign with the Hogs. Got letters for a whole year. Here we come to my senior season and still getting letters weekly, hadn't got an official offer. And it was late, it was late. But they were still, I was still getting in funny story. We were playing Osceola at the Os. And I think it's maybe third game of the year, maybe second. Can't remember. Anyway, I was on defense and went in to make a tackle. And one of my defensive players, or my team, smashed my helmet into the helmet and blah blah. Anyway, broke my hand right here in my wrist a little, and I was out for like 3 games. Never heard another thing from the Razorbacks. Hated them from then on. Oh, dang you, But then ASU swooped in, gave me a scholarship. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go show them. They're not as good as – I don't know if that 86 team couldn't have beat – they were 1AA. I'm talking about the ASU.
Right, FCS. What we now know is FCS.
Yeah, we're 1AA.
Right.
And you talk about some players, and I'm talking about some toughness. Coach Lacewell had them. I'm talking about I went from thinking I was something, and you know how you get humbled real quick.
Right.
And so I'm scout team quarterback because you're talking about some quarterbacks ahead of me, Dwayne Brown, Roy Johnson, Tim Robbins was a senior at that time. And so I'm scout team quarterback. And
best job in football, man.
Best job in football. But I was a good scout team quarterback.
Right.
I could throw a little bit, and I could throw pretty good. Wasn't swift, but we were playing that week. The funny thing, and this all leads back to Michael Adams. And he was a free safety. No, I think Albert Shelley was strong safety.
Truman Wildcat team 80 years.
And Atlanta Falcon.
All-Pro. 7 times All-Pro?
10 or 11. I don't know. But
something like that.
Great player. So we had 2 safeties that got drafted. Well, I want to say the free safety on ASU's team that in the scheme that the scout team was running.
Right.
Well, I think the free safety was responsible for the quarterback on the option.
Mm-hmm.
So I rode that fullback in there and here, and I pulled it and I said, I'm fixing to go for a touchdown in spring, in practice.
Right.
Scout team practice. Boy, about the time I turn, bam, Adams come flying up. He's probably 5'11", 220,
Stud.
Saints drafting him.
Right.
And I'm talking about knocked me out of my cleats. I mean, my cleats flew off.
So that's true. Your cleats actually came off.
My cleats flew off. And you know what kind of cleats we had? Kangaroos. You probably don't remember kangaroos. I think that's right. Roos, they call them roos. And it didn't wear high tops. Just,
right.
And so maybe not both of them, but one of them flew off. And I've been knocked out. You know how you get your bell rung. And nowadays, I mean, that's serious business with CTE. And
correct, it is.
Well, that was one of those. And I'm talking about out for just a second.
Uh-huh.
And I'm struggling to even... Well, here comes the legend himself, Ron Carroll. Ron Carroll, what a legend. Smelling salts, had his little,
fanny pack.
And that was the day. That was the day that I said,
I'm going to go with baseball.
Golly, man. Man, I'm on a good football team. And here's the thing about, I was very... I don't know, just kind of, I really don't know the word for it, but in practice, I did what I had to do, but on games, I think I probably told you.
You're the only freshman that dressed, correct?
I was the only true freshman that had to dress
right
on Saturdays. And so, so all the freshmen in the dorm, back then you had a football dorm, Indian Hall. And we had a really nice dorm, where you had 3 roommates or 2 room, 3 of you lived in a suite.
Right.
Had your own bathroom, And so on game day, or Friday before Saturday game, if you were not playing, now, if you were playing at home and you were a true freshman, you could dress.
Right.
At home.
But you didn't have to.
You didn't have to. But on away games.
You did.
Yes, I had to. Because I was backup punter in case, or in.
Never know.
And 12th string quarterback, whatever. But we were, let's see, let me get this right because I don't want to. Anyway, back to where I was. Yes, I was the only freshman that had to dress. And we're playing Ole Miss. I think we're driving to Ole Miss on a bus. This was early. This would have been non-conference.
Right.
And so I don't know if this is our first non-conference game because we beat Memphis State.
Okay, I didn't know that.
We beat Memphis State that year, 31-6, I think. Played Ole Miss that's how good this team was.
Wow.
And I mean, should have beaten Ole Miss. We played Mississippi State that year, I think. It's been a long time, but anyway, we're going to Ole Miss, and I had to dress.
Right.
So got ready to go get on the bus. There's only one seat left on the bus, and it's right next to Coach Eldon Hawley.
Okay.
Tough. Great football. Legend.
Ring of Honor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Arkansas
legend. State. Well, he goes, White, come sit with me. Because it was only one left.
Right.
He was, nobody, you didn't even talk to the man.
Right.
You just, he was one of those coaches. You didn't talk to him. So I had to sit with him all the way to Oxford. And, of course, after the game, you could leave and go with whoever, as long as you were back Monday morning.
Right.
But we went to almost won. Anyway, the reason I tell you that is it kind of leads into this next story about Coach Hall.
I think I know where you're going with this.
So after I got knocked out, I'm thinking about, man, boy, this. Because I had a bunch of friends on the baseball team.
Right.
Because actually, technically, Coach Johnson recruited me to play baseball. Well, at the time, you couldn't get a baseball scholarship.
A dual
scholarship. And so, I signed the football scholarship with the football coaches saying, well, yeah, you can play baseball in the spring. So I knew I was going to play baseball in the spring anyway.
Right.
So we're playing, I think it's the first, maybe first week of the playoffs. Or maybe maybe championship Saturday. I can't remember, but it's at home.
It's late.
It's late in the
It's
year.
November.
Yeah. And my favorite time of year, which was duck season. Duck season opened that Saturday.
Right. And we live 3 miles from the best duck hunting in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just is.
And so my roommate,
Derek
Dean from Highland, well, he lived in the hills his whole life, and he'd always, heard about wanting to duck hunt and loved it. And again, he was not going to dress the next day. And so he had to be out of the dorm, by a certain time. I want to say 5 on a Friday night, whatever it was. And you were there by yourself.
Right.
I was. Now, of course, all the upperclassmen had their roommates,
Correct.
And, well, they weren't going to let me hang out with them, lowly freshmen. And so Derek's getting ready to leave, and I'm pouting, crap. He goes, man, do duck season tomorrow. I go, I know, man. I said, I ain't missed opening day of duck season since I was 8 years old.
Wow.
He goes, well, let's go, man. He said, hey, I said, what? He goes, let's just go. He said, you don't have to be at breakfast till 10 o'clock.
Right.
And of course, it kind of lit, and I'm like, well, he's right about that. I don't have to be at breakfast till 10 o'clock. And he said, I'll just come. And when you had a back way out of the dorm.
Right.
You could go out the back. And he said, I'll pick you up on the back street. And we'll drive to Truman, just right down the road.
12-minute drive.
And we'll go out and hunt for a couple hours, and we'll be back.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time to have you at breakfast. I said, let's do it,
Great idea.
So, man, I didn't even sleep hardly. And so I took off. We took off 4:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock. Went down to the St. Francis River, and here we go. Take off. Going out in the woods, got our boat. He's like, man, this is great. This is great. And we're going, back through the woods and off the river. The water had gotten up. And so we're going through the woods. And he goes, how do you even know where you're going? I said, man, I do this all the time, man. This is easy.
Your hand.
This is easy. So we go back to this spot. And sure enough, we kill,
kill your limit.
We'll kill a few. Well, and I'm thinking, I got to get back. Got to make sure it ain't like I was trying to cut it, because we killed, so about 8 o'clock, I said, all right, man, let's go. All right. Well, back then you didn't have electric starts on your motor.
Correct.
You had to crank it. Well, and we trying this and that. And I said, oh, okay, all right, hang on, let me check it and, make sure we got gas, blah, 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 blah. Something's wrong here. I'm still not worried because, started up and got us there.
Right.
And I said, golly, I started getting tired. I said, Derek, come jerk on this thing. He jerks on it 2 or 3 times, big, strong lineman,
Right.
Jerked on it, pulled the cord all the way out, the jerk cord. Well, we were 18 years old, and that had never happened to me before. And my uncles, that I grew up hunting with were like, well, why didn't you just take the top off and wrap it back around the fly? And I said, well, I didn't know how to do that.
Right.
I wasn't a mechanic. I played football. I wasn't. And so, we're sitting there going, oh, man, no cell phones.
Way before.
Well, way before. And so we're out in the middle of nowhere.
In the sunken lands.
In the sunken lands. And Derek's like, well, there ain't nothing we can do, So he just gets back, loads his gun, he gets to hunting. And I'm sitting there just, you ever had something happen to you so that you knew you were in so much trouble for,
but you could do nothing about it.
You could do nothing about it. And I was like, my God. I said, the first thing is Coach Holly, because he was the guy that was over discipline.
Right.
I said, man, Coach Holly's going to kill me. Because, all right, now, got to go back a little bit, because they did trust me enough. I was the defensive clipboard guy. You see the guys on the sideline that put their helmet, like they put their helmet on the side just because they're not going to get in the game.
Correct.
And they got a clipboard.
Mm-hmm.
That was me.
Love it.
At every game.
Pretty important.
Pretty important. There goes your ball. So anyway, and that's what I did. Well, coach called play and I'd chart it. Coach called play, and I'd chart it. I was the guy. And I was like, man, they're going to kill me. So before I get to what the coaches said, me and Derek sitting there hunting all day. And I'm thinking, well, somebody will
mosey out here at
something. Point. I mean, maybe somebody will go down the river. We can just start yelling. Well, no, I knew we wasn't going to yell. But I thought, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, first of all, mom and dad are going to go to every game. It didn't matter if I was playing in a chess match.
Even when I play.
Even like right now, I mean, your grandmother would go watch you coach. And yes. And she will.
She has.
She will.
At 80, whatever.
89, 88. She'll be 89. Incredible. Anyway, so I was like, well, mom and dad will be there. And then they'll see that I'm not there.
And they'll know where you are.
And they will know. Because I think I had mentioned it, Mm-hmm. I want to go duck hunting. Right. So anyway, we stay out there. And I'm like, well, so it's getting afternoon time.
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking, well, surely, they'll be coming pretty quick.
Right.
Well, then it started getting dark. And I said, oh, man. Derek's like, you think somebody's going to come out here? And I said, man, I don't know. Well, we both got real hungry.
Right.
Well, Derek breasted one of the ducks. And there was a coffee can lid, but it was metal back then. Right. When you had a screw on, but it was metal, And we put it on the fire, and then we put these little chunks of duck on it and just cooked them and ate them, and it was awful.
I didn't know that part.
Oh, yeah. So.
Like Bear Grylls stuff, man.
Yeah. Anyway, so, man, it was, I don't even know if we had a watch, but we knew we had been there a long time. Well, finally we hear a boat coming. And I said, well, there they come, because sure enough, I've got 3 uncles that lived on that river as much as I did, taught me everything about it.
Correct.
And I thought they know where I'm probably hunting.
Uh-huh.
So sure enough, I could hear them coming through the woods, and they stopped, and I just yelled, hey, and they yelled, hey. Well, it was about 1:00 in the morning. And so they got us. Boy, my dad, God rest his soul, the nicest person, never.
Salt of the earth.
Never.
Truthfully.
I don't know if he ever I think that was the only time he ever got mad at me. He was mad at me,
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, well, first thing you're going to do in the morning, even though you don't have to be up there on Sunday.
Right.
You're going to go straight to Coach Lacewell's office and tell him,
what you did,
what you're doing, what you did. And I said, oh gosh, another legend, Coach Lacewell.
Yes.
So I did. I went up there, and Dad followed me. I had that big black Toyota truck, and Dad followed me, and he said, get on in there. I walked in there, and Coach Lacewell goes, hey, you still alive or something? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, come on. We went in the office. And I told him, I told him that story.
Right.
He said, you mean tell me if I ask Dean, talking about Derek, he's going to tell me the same story you just told me? I said, yes, sir. I said, I wouldn't lie to you. He goes, why in the hell would you do? I'm sorry.
You're good.
Why would you do that, son? And he kind of laughed.
Right.
And I thought, well, this ain't going to be as bad as I thought,
Right.
I said, okay. I said, well, I don't know, Coach. I don't know. I was just stupid, and I knew I wasn't going to get to play, and blah, 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 blah. He said, well, you still had a responsibility,
Correct.
And I said, yes, sir, I know, and I'm sorry. Okay, all right. Well, he said, see Coach Holly Monday.
Oh.
Well, back then we had these things called help sessions, and I carried that along,
You did
like,
as a head coach.
like if a player got in trouble for doing something they shouldn't have done, you're going to get a little help session. So Coach Holly, I'll never forget it. This is where this phrase comes from. He goes, White, there you are. He goes, I looked up Saturday, looking up and down the sidelines. I said, where's White? Somebody said, he's not here. And I said, oh, he's a phantom.
He's a phantom.
And I said, yes, sir. And he goes, you're a ghost. You was a ghost, White. He was that's the way it was, Oh, and come up with these one-liners. And he said, you're the football phantom is what you're a gridiron ghost.
The gridiron ghost.
The gridiron ghost. And I thought, that's pretty good.
That is a good one.
I like that.
Greg White, the Gridiron Ghost.
Yeah. And so he said, well, we're gonna get you a little help. And I said, yes, sir. And so you had to run the stadium, and It was awful. It really was. And so to circle all the way back to getting knocked out by Michael Adams.
After the help session. This is after the story of the ghost.
Yes. And then, yeah.
Is it the next week?
It might have been the next week. They were both incidences were just right there. And so I'm like.
Not a good 2-week stretch for the ghost.
No, the ghost he was wanting to be. Matter of fact, this kind of got around. And I don't know if it was Bill Stanley or one of the older guys. And it might have been one of the baseball players. Could have been Whiteside or B-Ray. I don't know. But somebody started calling me Casper. And then, it was just, you get tagged with these nicknames. And I was like, man, this is bad. And I said, Dwayne Brown, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play at ASU.
Top 3.
I'm talking about record setter.
Dwayne Brown, Ryan Apple, and Cleo Lemon.
And
those 3.
And Roy Johnson, who was Dwayne Brown's cousin, who was going to take the helm for 3 more years.
Right.
I'll see you writing on the wall.
Yes.
Well, I could move right over to baseball, playing time immediately.
Right.
And so I remember those 2 incidents happening back. Now I regret it I would, if I could go back, I obviously would stay. And,
right.
But then of course, and sure enough, then went to baseball, had a, great time with those guys. We weren't great, but we had some fun times.
Right.
So
that's awesome, man. That's such a good story.
Well, that is a good story. And a lot of people, of course, Derek, and I didn't want anybody to really know what happened for a long time, but then you got a crowd of people, and heck, my old football coach would always come just to support me. And you got a lot of people from Truman just coming to watch you stand on the sideline.
Of course.
But still, hey, man, that guy down there,
Man,
I was number 14. And
that's crazy that Will ends up being 14, in college at Harding.
That's right. That's funny.
Really full circle.
That's
really
funny.
Full circle. So, you move over to baseball. You have a pretty good baseball career at Arkansas State.
The thing about it was I was a really good catcher, had a really good arm.
Right.
And I was a really good defensive catcher, but could not hit. I mean, I was not. I could hit for power.
Trouble with the curve.
I'll tell you a funny story. We went to, it was either Ole Miss or Memphis State. I think it was Ole Miss. That spring.
Right.
Or maybe the next spring. I can't remember. I think it actually was the next spring. And they had a really good pitcher. And he was he was popping those sliders just right off the end.
Couldn't touch it.
Well, a hitter like me definitely couldn't. I was a fastball, pull hitter, blah, blah, blah. And so first bat, first time up, boom, 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 struck out. God dang, I know the sliders coming. He had a good one too, just second time up, struck out. Third time up, hat trick,
Oh, wow.
And I thought, man, I hope I don't have to bat again. But it's a pretty close game, so I had to bat again. Golden sombrero.
Oh, 4 of them.
4 of them.
God.
And but then there were some good ones. All right, I tell you what, my freshman year, we were playing and this is a story I probably can't tell, but we were playing in McAllen, Texas at a tournament. We always played in a tournament down there, the Pan Am Classic. And some really good teams. This would be early February.
Down on the border.
Right on the border.
Right.
And I think we were playing Oklahoma. I did not start the game, but coach put me in at the end because we were getting beat. And I think I had my very first hit against Oklahoma.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I did. And it was, I'll never forget, it was a fastball, and I just turned on it right over the third baseman's head.
Awesome.
Now, I didn't have many, but I do remember that. In that same tournament the next year, threw out a runner from St. John's. I remember that.
Cool.
But, you talk about moments, hit a home run against New Orleans, hit a couple home runs, but.
Did you have a 2 home run game? If I remember that?
No. I think I only hit 2 or 3.
Okay.
Total.
Gotcha.
But, was a really good catcher and had a chance if I would have, if I would have taken it more seriously and worked on trying to hit to the opposite field and just do some stuff that, you know.
And I think that bled to me because me growing up, you always preached right center to me. And I thank you for that.
Yeah.
I batted 430 in my career.
And I'll say this, that was back in a time when Coach Johnson, you know, for his part, ASU was not spending any money on baseball at all. I mean, and they had a great football team. And, you know, it was hard, you know, for him. But we, you know, so many memories with those guys.
Right.
You know, some of my dearest friends that for a long time, you know, in weddings, you know, just like you young guys. And obviously you know, everybody splits up, but you're like, you know, you remember those guys as much as you do your high school guys.
Of course. Yeah, I'm the same way. way. And we had the full circle thing with Matt Whiteside.
That's right.
You know, Coach Corey Gundaker.
There you go.
That's right. That's pretty cool.
That's right. And I'll tell you this. We were playing, I want to thank Southern Illinois. Whiteside was pitching. I was catching. And, man, he had a slider. I'm talking about that just slid, baby. I mean, you know, and then a good, lively fastball with it. Well, I was in the majors for 14, 15 years.
Right.
I mean, you know, and great friend of mine. And so we're playing Southern Illinois, and it was one of the rare games where I had a couple of hits.
Okay.
Like maybe 3 for 4.
You feeling good?
So, and it is a thing. For some reason, there was a woman. I've told you this story.
Yes.
Sitting right behind us.
Chirping.
And so, like, he threw a slider in the dirt. I tried to block it up, and it went to the backstop. And she just started in, you know, because I'd gotten a hit. And I think she was keeping a book, if I remember. And so she was in my ear, you know, just all hit, no catch. You know, like, you know, I missed, you know, well, I was trying to block them up.
Right.
So then she was getting in my ear. And it was like, gosh, dog. You know, and she'd say, yeah, I'm talking to you, catcher. You know, like a fan would.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, like, leave me alone. Well, then I threw one, just throwing it back to Matt, you know, like threw it over his head or something. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. And she goes, oh, he can't even throw it back to the pitcher. And I'm like, oh. So sure enough, then it was like, I'd catch it. It's a real thing, man, these yips that catchers get. And, you know, for some reason, you can still throw to second, and so I'd walk halfway out and just kind of, this Whiteside's like, what are you doing, man? You know? And I'm like, well, this woman back here is just, and he's like, tell her to shut up, you know? And I'm like, he goes, don't let it bother you. And I'm like, man, I can't. It's in my brain.
That could have been like a cut scene in Bull Durham.
That. And it happened in, was it Bull Durham 2?
Maybe.
Or what was the movie? Rube, where he can't throw it back and he's thinking about.
You got me.
What's the other movie?
Major League?
Major League 2. Okay. Is it Major League 2?
I've never seen Major League 2.
Where Rube, it's a real thing. It is a real thing. Golfers get it.
Yes. I get it every time on the golf
course. Where you just, you know, you're just yipping.
Right.
And, you know, it's a real thing. And because I'd gotten a couple, hit a triple. I'll never forget, I hit a triple. And, you know, and then like the inning was over and I'm jogging back to our dugout and she goes, there he goes. All he can do is swing that stick. He can't do, you know, and I'm like, oh. But that was a good baseball story.
That's awesome. You know, you had the privilege, well, I won't say privilege. It might be a privilege to you, but to coach both sons.
Oh, yeah, that is a privilege. And I'll say this before you even finish your question. Any dad that is fortunate enough to be a coach or a teacher,
right,
and teach or coach his children, y'all were gym rats.
Oh,
I mean, I can remember both of you coming in with your jerseys on, your little backpacks, and just stayed with me till we went home.
Right.
You know, so yes.
It was.
Anyway.
You know, and I'm very thankful that, you know, I got to be under you or coached by you as a head coach and as an assistant, you know. You know, you were my biggest fan as a junior and a senior, and I appreciate that. But, you know, take me, you know, fill me in, because I've never really asked you this either. You know, what's your favorite moment coaching me, either in football or baseball, and what's your favorite moment coaching Will in football or baseball?
Well, that's a good question. You know, when you talk about there's memorable,
right,
then there's favorite,
right.
Man, I could list so many. Kane, I can remember memorable, and I hate that I did it to you. We're playing, I think it's your sophomore year. We're playing Nettleton or something.
Oh my gosh.
And hey, you remember it rained so bad that they canceled the game.
Well, it actually didn't rain until the Saturday morning, but there was a lightning strike. That
Why did we play
was
Saturday?
Coming in because the storm came in.
Okay.
And it canceled the game on Friday night.
And we're winning. We're kind of playing along.
It's 0-0 and it's back.
But it's back and forth.
Right.
And so, and I remember thinking, because I was like, I want to finish.
Right.
I want to finish. And all the coaches did, the players did. We were just feeling it. We were playing good. They were playing good. And
really good on
And
defense.
I don't even think we won a game. Maybe we won. I can't. But that night we were playing really good. And maybe this is what. But anyway, you were on kickoff or punt. I can't remember.
I was punt. I was long snap.
And so you went down. You were going down to. And the guy's going on. I think he's on Nettleton sideline, and I can still see it. And you're angling towards him.
I'm about to make the play.
And bam, you get hit. And then you probably can tell it better from there. But I remember you're just laying out. And I said, oh, man. And you got blistered.
I was out.
So that is the most memorable.
Me getting knocked out.
Yeah. And
I couldn't play the next week. I was.
And let's see, favorite, just a bunch of good. I'll tell you one good one. When you scored the touchdown against Brooklyn as a fullback, you're a really good fullback. You just didn't believe it in your sophomore and junior year.
Right.
That one, I'll tell you a funny one that's really comical. And shout out to Coach Waymeyer. When was it your junior season?
Junior year at Westside.
And I think you're a linebacker. And a good linebacker. You were a good linebacker. And so was it one of Westside? Was Westside guy? We were winning.
I think you're thinking about Jesse Buchanan or Willie Moore. Maybe Willie turned the corner. We actually had the ball.
No. We had the ball.
Yes.
We had the ball.
I was backside tight end.
And somebody is running.
Scoring.
And the one thing as a coach, and you know this now.
So mad at myself.
that you look back.
So mad at
Well, here you come. You're going to prove a point to somebody. And so you hit somebody 30 yards behind, and as coaches.
Absolutely depleted the guy.
And so.
I felt good at the moment.
Yeah, it felt good until Coach Waymeyer got you.
Yes.
And then. But he dubbed you the slasher, mad slasher.
The mad slasher.
He goes, there goes Kane, the mad slasher, was watching it in film, But I remember that. That was memorable.
So we actually scored on that play, and I hit the guy right as we scored, so we had to go for 2 from the 18-yard line.
So we get to where the favorite, probably the walk-off against Westside as a baseball player. I'd
struck out 3 times before that.
Traditionally had a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say we were playing for a regional spot.
We was playing for the regional, the 4th seed.
And that one, that's probably my favorite for you and your brother.
Thousands.
Proud moments. Had several in college but in high school, I don't know. I tell you what, one of the really memorable games, he was playing center field against Piggott.
Wow.
And he always wanted to gun somebody out at home. He had a good arm. And so sure enough, we're beating Piggott 1-0. I think that's right.
Yep.
And Piggott had a runner on third, 2 outs. And they hit a fly ball.
No, it had to be 1 out.
Huh?
It had to be 1.
Why?
He's tagged up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's right. 1 out. And so they hit a deep fly, not real deep, but mid,
enough to tag up.
Enough to tag to Will. And Brant, I believe, Will's buddy, was a 9th grader. Brant Montgomery was a freshman. And he was the catcher. And the kid tagged, and Will did that crow hop, boom, on the line, and Brant scooped it and swiped tagged. That was a good one for your brother.
Yep.
I'll tell you a real good one for your brother was when Coach Waymeyer was coaching, we were playing Paragould, I think.
Mm-hmm. At Paragould.
Was he a junior?
Junior, yep.
And
I know where you're going with this one.
And he scored, let's say he returned a kickoff for a touchdown.
Ran a touchdown.
Returned a punt for a touchdown.
Nope. Threw a touchdown.
Returned an interception for a touchdown.
Correct.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scored all 4 phases.
And coach tried to get him. I think
to catch one.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's right. That's right. And he got him. Yeah. He was trying to get him to catch one every way. That was a good memory.
Funny story about that one. He had 223 all-purpose yards in the first half.
Yeah.
That's more all-purpose yards than I had in my career.
He had a little thing called speed.
Yes.
So
got that from you.
But no, I probably got that from his mom. I could run a little bit, but I couldn't run like he could.
And so you coached me, and we've got this very rare thing. I coached you. I played under you. You coached me. I volunteered. Will's junior, senior, so we technically coached together in a way. And then in 2022, when I'm the head coach at Manila, we coached at Truman. At Truman, we coached against each other. We didn't. We tried to keep it as normal as possible that week, but we didn't talk about it.
And then when you get on the field, and it's fixing to start,
how'd you feel?
It was extremely proud, and you'll probably as a football coach, you don't want to show any emotion before a game, and you're just like, But I remember hugging you, just wishing you the best, and thinking, that's something that just normally doesn't happen before a game.
Right.
And that happened before a game. And I'm thinking, well, and you did. You had your kids ready. We were just better. We were just better. And, you ended up having some great teams at Manila and then doing your thing at Arkansas. And again, that's, that might be my proudest moment. For you to leave a stable job and for your wife now, to let you do it,
right,
and leave and pursue a dream to say, to see if you wanted to do this,
right,
and I think you'll admit that it's a great, we think high school and football and coaching's a grind,
absolutely,
but that was probably my proudest moment, seeing you on the sidelines, physically making an impact on super football players and getting to play in the, coach in the SEC. That's probably my favorite.
I appreciate
it. Yeah, that's probably my favorite.
Yeah, coaching against each other, man. That was it ended up being tougher than I thought, man. It was like, man, you were in the crow's nest up there, and I kind of just kept glancing at you, and we had a good hug after the game. That was really special.
That was a good one.
But so for about the past 14, 15 episodes, I've started this little rapid fire segment.
Yeah.
Presented by your son, Duck Club Golf Apparel.
Duck Club Golf.
So, rapid fire session presented by Duck Club Golf Apparel. So got 5 of them for you.
All right. Let me get my brain cleared here.
Get your mind right.
Mine's not as quick and sharp as it used to be.
Cleanse the palate.
Okay, I'm ready.
Number 1, best pitcher you faced.
Best pitcher I've faced. Joe Slasarski, University of New Orleans.
Gotcha. He ended up playing the majors, correct? Oakland Athletics?
Oakland.
Yeah, he was a good one. Okay. You are hosting a music festival in your backyard.
Ooh. Now?
Right now.
Or when I was in...
Right now. But you can pick anybody from any era, 3 artists.
And they come back in their heyday?
In their heyday, in their prime.
Ooh, good.
Dead or alive, any era.
Okay. Oh, man. Golly, you got me. Tom Petty.
Great start.
I know I'm supposed to be going faster, but I just have so much music. Okay, Tom Petty, Bob Seger.
Great.
And Journey.
Good. 3 good ones.
And
Seger's on mine as well.
Yeah.
With Morgan Wallen.
Again, I could go back to like now. There's some music now that I love. I'm a music fan, just like you and your brother. And so, anyway, go ahead.
Okay, we talked about tough athletes, gritty athletes, but the best pure athlete you've ever coached.
Ever coached?
Yes.
The best pure athlete I've ever coached. Pure athlete, speed. Boy, that's a good one too. Golly. Jeff Williams was really good. Overall athlete, probably Jeff.
4-sport All-State, correct?
Yep.
Shout out to Jeff Williams.
Yeah.
It's a good one, really good one. Who's winning the college football national championship this year?
Ooh, good question. I'm going out on a limb.
Okay.
I've already told you. We talked about it pregame.
We did. Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Texas Tech Red Raiders. Great defense. I think they're
oil money.
And I'm going to tell you why. I think they're going to coast. If you look at their schedule, they're going to coast through. I say that now. They'll lose 2 or 3 early, but they're going to coast through the regular season.
Going to be fresh.
And be fresh.
Okay. I like it. This is the tough one.
Uh-oh.
And this is something that I've really thought about a lot, okay?
Uh-oh.
You know what Mount Rushmore is?
Mount Rushmore. Do I know it? Yes.
Yeah. Which, hey, my sister-in-law and Mark, Dr. Mark, they went last week.
Oh, really?
Okay. The Truman Football Mount Rushmore. The 4 horsemen. The 4 horsemen, players, coaches, anybody involved.
Okay. Lynn Greenwell.
Yes. He's on mine.
Now, this is where I got to go another one, pulling out, because I don't think, and then you have athlete. Now, again, there's not enough. I'm going to be missing somebody.
Yes. It makes it a tough question.
Because I'm going to leave it at one, Joe Alazonia.
Okay.
Just because he's just a legend himself. I could name some more coaches, Ricky Timms, but I'm going to stick with Lynn and Joe.
Okay.
And then I'm going with Elbert Shelley.
Great.
And a little guy that a lot of people don't know, and he's not little, Joe Holloman.
Joe Holloman.
Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Edmonton Eskimos. Edmonton Eskimos back in the day.
Now the Elks, yes.
That's right.
Canada, Grey Cup champion.
Maybe 5 times.
Yes. Joe Holloman. Defensive end?
Don't give me cornerback.
Oh.
I think he was a corner or safety.
Well, he's just a lot bigger now.
Yeah.
When I got to meet him back when they retired the field.
Yeah, those would be my 4.
So three no doubters for me: Coach Greenwell, Albert, and Joe. And then 4th, man, I've got this list of my 4th, and I've got Jimmy on there, Will, Coach Walzonia, Coach Timms. I'll throw a bone to yourself, Cade Gartman. It's a good one.
Yeah.
But here's a dark horse for you. George DuBois. George DuBois made a huge impact in Truman football.
Legend.
After serving in the military and then coming back and helping you out as a trainer.
And not just me. George had, and I'll say this about George. George was the most selfless person.
Yes.
And then to take his job as equipment manager as a man.
Right. So serious.
And do it to, you knew as a coach, you did not have to tell another coach to fix that helmet or fix that shoulder pad or do this or do that, because George was on it before you even knew
about it.
And was proud of it.
Absolutely.
And the kids absolutely loved him for it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep,
that's a real good one.
Man, this was so special to me. You have no clue how special it was to me. I could sit here and talk for hours upon hours.
I know it, because we have that connection. You and I often laugh. We'll take off on one of our trips, and I'll start to say something, and you'll finish it. It's like twins, kind of. So,
I love you. You've impacted my life in so many ways.
You know what I always say? Love you more.
Love you more.
Love you more.
All we got to do from now on is we got to just relax and let Jesus kick us to the goalpost of life.
Hey. That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do, baby. Too blessed to be stressed.
That's right.
Hey, Hoxie Mustangs, let's go.
Let's get them.
Come on.
Let's get them, Hoxie Mustangs.
All right.
Episode 26, my father, Greg White. It was an honor. It was a blessing. We'll see you next time.